Number 50, edge defender Danielle Hunter, Minnesota Vikings. Hunter had a career year for the Vikings last season, notching by far the best overall PFF grade at 89 and pass rushing grade at 84.5 of his professional career. Hunter's 97 total pressures, including the playoffs, also represents a massive jump in production, with 29 more than he's ever had previously. Hunter finally began to emerge into the player his sack total suggested he had been for a while, and 2020 could put him even higher this time a year from now. Number 49, edge defender Brandon Graham, Philadelphia Eagles. Graham has been one of the best edge rushers in the entire decade, always producing more than his sack totals would indicate. Last season, his overall PFF grade slipped below 85 for the first time since 2015, and he posted the lowest pass rushing grade of his career since becoming a full-time starter. However, Graham still finished with 67 pressures last season, the fourth straight year he's at least reached that mark. Number 48, offensive tackle Ronnie Stanley, Baltimore Ravens. Last season, Stanley posted one of the most absurd stat lines in PFF history. He surrendered just 6 total pressures and no sacks all season long. He was certainly helped by Baltimore's run-heavy system and Lamar Jackson's unique threat at quarterback, but even in adverse pass-protecting situations, Stanley's grade and production remained elite. He is making a hard run at David Bakhtiari's crown as the league's best pass blocker. Number 47, edge defender Joey Bosa, Los Angeles Chargers. Bosa had arguably his best season last year as he notched 72 total pressures and was one of just 5 edge rushers to finish with a pass rushing grade of 90 or better. He has the top pass rush win percentage among edge defenders since 2016, winning 22% of his rushes and trailing only the great Aaron Donald among all defensive linemen. Number 46, guard Zach Martin, Dallas Cowboys. Few players have been as good as Martin since he entered the league, as 5 of his 6 starting seasons have seen him earn an overall PFF grade of at least 85.9, and the 6th was a 79.1. He's ranked in the top 6 among guards in every season of his career, and last year Martin was number 1 in pass blocking grade and number 4 in run blocking grade. Number 45, wide receiver Mike Evans, Tampa Bay Bucks. Evans has now started his career with 6 consecutive seasons of excellent grades and impressive raw production. Over that same time span, he has 60 contested catches, that's 3 shy of Julio Jones, who leads the league over that period. Evans is second to Julio again in terms of explosive plays, and is one of just 2 players who has registered more than 200 catches of at least 15 yards. Number 44, interior defensive lineman Kenny Clark, Green Bay Packers. Clark came into the league as more of a one-dimensional run-stuffing nose tackle, but he has developed into arguably the modern-day nose tackle prototype by becoming a fearsome pass rusher on top of it. The 2019 season saw him post a career-high 62 total pressures, and that's 69 including the playoffs, to go with 45 defensive stops, and it marked his 2nd straight season with a pass rushing grade of at least 87. Number 43, quarterback Deshaun Watson, Houston Texans. Watson's high-end play is as good as it gets, and he's shown capable of carrying the Texans at points in his career. The next step in Watson's development is eliminating the below-average games that show up every season. Last year, in the 4th quarter of one-score games, Watson had both the number 1 PFF grade at 88.6 and also the number 1 yards per attempt average at 10.3 among all quarterbacks, showing he is at his best when the game is on the line. Number 42, offensive tackle David Bakhtiari, Green Bay Packers. Bakhtiari has become the gold standard of pass protection in the NFL, at least since Joe Thomas retired and likely even a season or 2 before the future Hall of Famer walked away. Bakhtiari now has 7 straight seasons with a PFF pass blocking grade of at least 85, and he's doing it with the hardest pass blocking responsibility of any tackle, protecting for Aaron Rodgers, a quarterback who holds the ball longer than almost all other passers. Bakhtiari has become the elite pass protecting left tackle in the NFL. Number 41, edge defender Nick Bosa, San Francisco 49ers. Few players have had the kind of immediate impact at the position that Bosa has had as a rookie. He broke the PFF record for total pressures from a rookie that had stood since Aldon Smith's 60 back in 2011, and Bosa even continued his dominance into the playoffs and the Super Bowl. It's just 1 year of play, but considering how good he was in college, and the fact that his one season in the NFL was a record-breaking one, there is reason to believe that Bosa is already one of the best pass rushers in the game, and he could get even better. Number 40, interior defensive lineman Cameron Heyward, Pittsburgh Steelers. A season ago, Heyward was probably the most dominant interior defensive lineman outside of Aaron Donald. He stepped up despite losing his running mate STEPHON early in the season, and he ended the year with a career-best PFF grade of 91.5. Hayward produced 60 total pressures and 44 defensive stops, and he had career highs in both run defense and pass rush grade. Number 39, cornerback Casey Hayward, Los Angeles Chargers. Hayward has been one of the game's best cornerbacks ever since he entered the league. It just took teams a little while to realize it. Hayward began his career with a season covering the slot that produced absurd coverage numbers, but over the past few seasons he has been a standout as the Chargers' #1 corner. Over the past decade, Hayward has the highest forced incompletion rate of any cornerback in the league, and he has never earned a PFF coverage grade below 73. Number 38, wide receiver Davante Adams, Green Bay Packers. Adams is one of the slickest route runners in the NFL, and he has posted top 8 PFF receiving grades in each of the last 2 years. Just 12.2% of Adams' targets over the past 2 years have been contested, which is the lowest rate of any receiver who plays predominantly on the outside, which goes to show the elite-level separation he consistently generates. Number 37, linebacker Lavonte David, Tampa Bay Bucks. Over the last 3 years, only Luke Kuechly and Bobby Wagner have graded better than Lavonte David's 91 overall PFF grade. David and Wagner are the only 2 returning linebackers to grade in the top 10 in both coverage and run defense over that span, showing that David is one of the game's best 3-down backers. Number 36, defensive lineman Calais Campbell, Baltimore Ravens. Campbell has improved greatly during the second half of his career, posting 4 consecutive seasons with an overall PFF grade over 90, and they've all come after his 30th birthday. He's succeeded in multiple roles across multiple schemes, posting the highest run defense grade among edge defenders since 2017, while producing at least 70 pressures in 3 of the last 4 seasons. Number 35, safety Harrison Smith, Minnesota Vikings. Smith has been the player who makes Mike Zimmer's defense go in Minnesota. He is the foundation, cornerstone around which every coverage shell the Vikings run can be built, and he is the movable piece that allows everybody else to slot into the role to which they're best suited. Since 2016, Smith is the only safety in the league to rank in the top 3 in both PFF run defense grade and PFF coverage grade. Number 34, guard Brandon Brooks, Philadelphia Eagles. It's unfortunate that we won't see Brooks play in 2020, as he's established himself as one of the league's best guards. Last season, Brooks won PFF's Bruce Matthews Award, which is given to the best single offensive lineman in football. He has never had a season that graded lower than average, and last year he had 8 games in which he surrendered no pressure while posting the #1 run blocking grade among all guards at 91.4. Number 33, wide receiver Chris Godwin, Tampa Bay Bucks. Godwin was a human highlight reel last season, catching passes from Jameis Winston for the Bucks. PFF grades capture quality and difficulty of the catch, and that's where Godwin excelled last season, on his way to the 3rd most receiving yards in the league with 1,333. Godwin also forced 17 missed tackles after the catch, that's 3rd highest in the league, while dropping just 1 pass on 87 catchable opportunities. Number 32, interior defensive lineman Grady Jarrett. The league is loaded with dominant interior defensive linemen at the moment, but even in that landscape, Jarrett stands out as a force. Last season was a career year as he notched 46 total pressures and 40 defensive stops. Jarrett has excellent grades against both the run and as a pass rusher in each of the last 2 seasons, and he's right up there with the best interior defenders in the league, not named Aaron Donald. Number 31, safety Derwin James, Los Angeles Chargers. Only injuries kept Derwin James from being higher on this list, but he is one of the league's most versatile players in the back 7. James' overall PFF grade of 87.8 as a rookie showed how dominant he can be, and while he didn't quite equal that last season, it was on fewer than 300 snaps due to injury. James can defend the run, cover close to the line and in deeper zones, and even rush the passer at a high level. That skill set is the antidote to versatile offenses, and James could become one of the best defenders in all of football in a hurry. Number 30, safety Anthony Harris, Minnesota Vikings. Harris has graded well every time we've seen him on the field, dating back to his final college play, and he's only gotten better with more opportunity. Last season, he was finally a full-time starter for the Vikings alongside Harrison Smith, and he responded with the best coverage grade at the position at 91.6 and the 2nd best overall grade at 90.5. Harris has been an all-pro caliber player and a true ball hawk in Minnesota's secondary. Number 29, edge defender Myles Garrett, Cleveland Browns. Garrett was enjoying a career year before getting suspended for the last 6 games of the 2019 season. He was on pace for a career high in pressures, and his 91.6 pass rush grade ranked 2nd among all edge defenders. If Garrett can return to the same level of play he reached last season, we're looking at one of the best pass rushers in the game, somebody whose PFF grade has improved each season of his career. Number 28, edge defender TJ Watt, Pittsburgh Steelers. Players don't always have a smooth growth curve in their NFL careers, but Watt has developed every season he's been in the league, building himself into the Defensive Player of the Year candidate we saw a year ago. Watt had the highest pass rushing grade of any edge defender in 2019 at 91.7, as he notched 81 total pressures and made a whole host of game-changing plays, including 8 forced fumbles and a pair of interceptions. If he plays to that level again, Watt will be one of the best defenders in the league at any position. Number 27, running back Nick Chubb, Cleveland Browns. Perhaps the best pure runner in football right now, Chubb has had an exceptional start to his career, albeit on a smaller sample size than other top backs. Chubb is averaging more than 4 yards per carry after contact in his 2-year NFL career, and he has PFF rushing grades above 90 in both seasons. He has broken 110 tackles on just 490 carries, with another 18 broken tackles on just 56 receptions. Chubb is a dynamic playmaker with the ball in his hands, though perhaps not the receiver people want to see at the position in today's league. Number 26, Ryan Ramczyk, New Orleans Saints. It's rare to see offensive tackles succeed right away in the NFL, but Ramczyk ranks behind only Joe Thomas and Jake Long for the best overall PFF grade in his first 3 seasons in the league. Ramczyk has won the PFF Run Blocker of the Year award in each of the last 2 seasons, and he rarely loses in the run game, while also being able to make any block in any run concept. Last season was a career year for Ramczyk as he led all offensive tackles with a 90.9 overall grade. Number 25, edge defender Von Miller, Denver Broncos. Miller's play declined last season, but he was coming off 8 straight seasons of 90-plus grades to start his career. A PFF all-decade performer, Miller has been one of the league's best run defenders and pass rushers since his rookie season, though last year he took a step back in efficiency when rushing the passer. The body of work suggests Miller will remain a top edge defender, but he's dropped from annual top 10 player to merely ranking in the top 25. Number 24, quarterback Tom Brady, Tampa Bay Bucks. Brady's 2019 was a drop-off from his previous baseline of play, but when you consider his age, the natural reaction is to believe that Father Time is finally catching up to him. However, the tape shows that the lack of receiver help in New England is as much to blame for Brady's 2019 performance, and he still has the highest PFF grade among quarterbacks since 2016 at 95.8. Even at age 43, Brady has a chance to prove that he can still make every throw, this time with a strong group of playmakers in Tampa Bay. Number 23, offensive tackle Mitchell Schwartz, Kansas City Chiefs. Consistency is the name of the game at offensive tackle, and that's exactly what Schwartz brings to the right side in Kansas City. He's one of only 3 offensive tackles to rank in the top 10 in both pass and run blocking last season, and he had one of the most incredible postseason runs in NFL history. That's right, you won't hear much about Mitchell Schwartz's legendary 2019 postseason, but he only surrendered 1 pressure on 142 pass blocking snaps as the Chiefs played catch-up for most of their Super Bowl run. Number 22, wide receiver Tyreek Hill, Kansas City Chiefs. Hill's combination of devastating speed and ball skills at the catch point are unrivaled in the NFL. He may be the most difficult cover in the entire league. Only Julio Jones and Michael Thomas have gained more yards per route run than Hill over the past 3 seasons, and Hill has gained at least a 1.4 yards per reception more than either player after the catch. Hill has emerged from gimmick player to an all-around receiver who can win at the line of scrimmage or down the field, making him one of the best game-breaking players in football and one of the best players in the league. Number 21, edge defender Cameron Jordan, New Orleans Saints. Jordan remains one of the most underrated players in all of football, though he has elevated his game to the level of the Khalil Macks and Von Millers of the world. Over the past 3 seasons, only Aaron Donald and Von Miller have more total pressures than Jordan's 222, and he also has 15 batted passes over that time, 3rd most in the league. Last season, Jordan was the only edge defender with a top 5 run defense grade and at least 80 pressures during the regular season. Number 20, safety Jamal Adams, Seattle Seahawks. Adams has become the prototype of the new breed of safeties who can do anything on the defensive side of the ball. He can line up anywhere and cover, defend the run, or even rush the passer as a legitimate edge rusher on any given snap, and he does it all at a high level. Only Adams and Derwin James are the only 2 safeties with top 10 PFF grades against the run, in coverage, and rushing the passer over the last 2 years, and both players are redefining what teams are looking for in the modern-day safety. Number 19, tight end Travis KELCE, Kansas City Chiefs. KELCE has become the prototype for the modern-day receiving tight end. While his blocking isn't on the level of Rob Gronkowski or George Kittle, it's still not bad, and he offsets this difference by being one of the best players in the league ever after the catch. He can run like a wideout with the ball in his hands, and he has broken at least 10 tackles every season of his career, with a total of 91 over 6 seasons, including the playoffs. KELCE has 4 straight seasons with a PFF receiving grade of at least 87. Number 18, edge defender Khalil Mack, Chicago Bears. Once a consistent member of the top 10, Mack endured a little bit of a down season in 2019. The fact that a down year for him still sees him post 70 total pressures and earn an overall PFF grade of 86.2 speaks to just how dominant a force he has been. Mack has now topped 70 pressures every season since his rookie year, and he's a dominant run defender as well as a pass rusher. If he bounces back in 2020 to the player he was prior to last season, he will be right back in the top 10. Number 17, linebacker Bobby Wagner, Seattle Seahawks. Wagner has the second best overall grade in the league over the past 2 years at 90.5, behind only the recently retired Luke Kuechly. Wagner is the only linebacker in the league to rank in the top 5 in coverage, as a run defender, and as a pass rusher over the past 2 years, and since his rookie year in 2012, he's missed just 5.5% of his tackle attempts, by far the best in the league. Wagner is now the best linebacker in the NFL. Number 16, interior defensive lineman Chris Jones, Kansas City Chiefs. Over the past 2 seasons, only Aaron Donald and Fletcher Cox have more total pressures among interior players than Jones, who has racked up 132 pressures and has the second best PFF pass rushing grade in the league, trailing only Donald among players at any position. Jones has shown, when healthy, he has the ability to take over and dominate games, and he was a big part of the Chiefs' Super Bowl victory with multiple key plays. Number 15, interior defensive lineman Fletcher Cox, Philadelphia Eagles. Cox is the best power pass rusher in the NFL, and his ability to overwhelm physically dominant offensive linemen is unique, leading to some truly spectacular seasons. Over the past 3 years, Cox has 202 total pressures. That's second most in the league among interior pass rushers and the 6th most in the league among all players. He is a wrecking machine inside for the Eagles. Number 14, cornerback Richard Sherman, San Francisco 49ers. Only age keeps Sherman this low on the list, as the best cornerback of the past decade will enter this season at 32 years old. Sherman was a huge reason the 49ers were so successful last season, and he showed he could get back to his best play another year removed from his Achilles injury. He allowed a passer rating of just 45.3 when targeted, including the playoffs, and Sherman's allowed a completion percentage of just 49.6% during his career, joining only Darrelle Revis among cornerbacks who have allowed lower than 50% during the last decade. Number 13, edge defender J.J. Watt, Houston Texans. Watt had a 4-year stretch in his career that rivaled Aaron Donald's before injuries started to bite and derail things, but Watt has still shown glimpses of that dominance since those setbacks. In 2018, he played a full year and earned a PFF grade above 90. He was on track to accomplish that feat again last season before a torn pectoral muscle ended his regular season, and his return to the playoffs wasn't quite at the same level. At his best, Watt is still a dominant force in this league, and the only question about that is his health, rather than his level of play. Number 12, cornerback Stephon Gilmore, New England Patriots. He's the closest thing the NFL has in 2020 to a shutdown corner. Gilmore has really taken his game to another level. Last season, Gilmore allowed a passer rating when targeted of just 47.4, notching 13 pass breakups and allowing fewer than 50% of targets to be caught. And that's despite a rough Week 17 that almost ruins those numbers. In single coverage over the past 3 seasons, Gilmore leads all cornerbacks by a significant distance in PFF grade, and he's allowed just 41.9% of passes to be caught. Gilmore is the standard, and he plays in a man-heavy scheme in New England. Number 11, quarterback Drew Brees, New Orleans Saints. Brees is still going strong as he heads into his age 41 season, and he remains among the league's best at spreading the ball around with good decision-making and elite accuracy. He struggled down the stretch over the last 2 years, and the downfield passing game has dwindled, but Brees is more than capable of carrying the Saints to one more Super Bowl ring. Number 10, running back Christian McCaffrey, Carolina Panthers. McCaffrey is the perfect running back for today's NFL. One of the few players with the skills to line up as a wide receiver, but also repeatedly carry the ball in between the tackles, McCaffrey has been the Panthers' offense over the past 2 seasons. In 2019, he touched the ball 403 times from scrimmage, racking up over 2,000 yards and breaking 65 tackles along the way. It marks the second consecutive year that McCaffrey had more than 100 receptions, and his 116 catches were the most by a running back in NFL history. Number 9, wide receiver DeAndre Hopkins, Arizona Cardinals. What Hopkins has been able to do in his NFL career with the quarterbacks he's worked with outside of Deshaun Watson has been remarkable. He should be able to maintain strong quarterback play heading into 2020 with a new team and Kyler Murray under center. Over the past 3 years, no receiver has a higher PFF receiving grade than Hopkins' 93.7 mark, and he has the 4th most contested catches, all while dropping just 11 passes on 469 targets. Number 8, quarterback Lamar Jackson, Baltimore Ravens. Jackson took a massive step forward last season from an accuracy standpoint, and he became one of the best dual-threat quarterbacks in NFL history. The Ravens have built around Jackson's unique skill set, using him to gain over 1,400 yards on designed runs over the last 2 years, while putting defenses in a bind and creating more open throws for the pass game. Jackson improved his adjusted completion percentage by over 10 percentage points, a scary proposition for the rest of the NFL. Number 7, quarterback Russell Wilson, Seattle Seahawks. Wilson has taken his game to another level over the past couple seasons, and in 2019 it was Wilson, not Lamar Jackson, who led all players in PFF WAR, that's wins above replacement, and Wilson finished with the 2nd best overall PFF grade. Over the past 3 years, Wilson has 27 more big-time throws than any other passer, while 12 quarterbacks have more turnover-worthy plays than him during that time. Wilson is held back only by how little his own team puts the ball in his own hands. Number 6, wide receiver Michael Thomas, New Orleans Saints. Thomas sometimes gets dismissed as a top receiver because he doesn't get deployed or utilized the same way as some of the other top players, but that shouldn't detract from his dominance. Since Thomas entered the league, nobody has come close to the number of first-down catches, and only Julio Jones has generated more yards per route run. Thomas is the NFL's ultimate chain mover, and even though teams know exactly what he's going to do, almost none come close to stopping him. Number 5, tight end George Kittle, San Francisco 49ers. Over the past decade, 5 of the top 7 single-season PFF grades at tight end belong to Rob Gronkowski, but the grade Kittle racked up last season tops any of them. Kittle, like Gronk, is an elite receiver at the position while also a rare blocker who becomes a matchup problem because he can dominate smaller players in that facet just as easily as he can win in the passing game. Last season was his first truly dominant year, but it was so good that it's tough not to rank Kittle even higher based on what the future could hold. Number 4, guard Quentin Nelson, Indianapolis Colts. Nelson is the rare player who brings everybody together. Whether you study tape exclusively, data exclusively, dots exclusively, or any combination thereof, everybody agrees Nelson is a star. In just his 2nd season in the league, Nelson earned a 91.2 overall PFF grade. He didn't surrender a sack, and he was a dominant force as a run blocker. Nelson was a bona fide star early in his college career, and there's a good chance he could be even better in 2020 and beyond. Number 3, wide receiver Julio Jones, Atlanta Falcons. Jones is the most productive pass catcher in football at a time when that skill has never been more valuable. Jones is number 1 in PFF's yards per route run metric since entering the league in 2011, showing that he's just the most efficient receiver in all of football. Over almost any time span you choose, he is the league's leader in receiving yards gained, and he has now had 5 straight years with a PFF grade above 90, with 3 seasons preceding those above 80. Jones is the best receiver in the NFL, and he climbs further up the all-time lists with each passing season. Number 2, quarterback Patrick Mahomes, Kansas City Chiefs. If the PFF 50 list accounted for positional value, Mahomes is the clear number 1, and he may reach the top of the list very quickly. Mahomes is as unique as it gets stylistically, and he already has a career's worth of incredible highlights. But what makes him special is his ability to avoid mistakes. Mahomes has the 7th lowest percentage of negatively graded throws over the last 2 years, showing that he can produce that highlight reel while still taking care of the ball. Number 1, interior defensive lineman Aaron Donald, Los Angeles Rams. No matter how good you think Aaron Donald is, you're underselling it. He's the best player in the NFL by a distance, but he plays on the interior of the D-line, so other guys get more publicity. But since entering the league, Donald owns the best pressure rate, the best pass rush win rate, that's factoring wins at the line that don't necessarily result in pressures, and he has the best PFF pass rushing grade as well as the most total pressures. Donald has done all of this from an interior alignment of the defensive line, where pressure is harder to come by than on the edge. The gap between Donald and the next best interior player is bigger than it is between any other player and the rest of his peers, and he remains atop this list for the 4th straight year. It's the PFF 50, all powered by PFF's play-by-play grading, and we're allowing all positions to be created equally.